Okay, let's talk about something we've all been through. That moment in an argument where someone finally apologizes, and somehow things get even worse. It is such a strange and frustrating feeling, right? Today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens and what's really going on under the surface when we say sorry. Because honestly, getting this right can be the difference between a little speed bump and a full-on relationship disaster.
You know the feeling. The air is thick with tension. One person says, "I'm sorry," and instead of that sweet, sweet relief, the temperature in the room just plummets. How does that even happen? How could a simple apology backfire so badly? Let's walk through a classic example that's probably going to feel pretty familiar. So picture this. There's been a misunderstanding, and she just wants to get back to feeling connected. She goes to him and says, "I am so sorry." Now, for her, this isn't necessarily about admitting she was 100% in the wrong. It's more of a peace offering, right? It's an olive branch to say, hey, let's get back on the same team.
And his response? It's okay. Now, to him, this makes perfect sense. He thinks he's being gracious, accepting the apology he just heard. But for her, his words just land with a thud. It feels dismissive, like a total brush-off. And just like that, she's even more upset than she was before.
So, what on earth just happened? He literally said, "It's okay." How did that go so incredibly wrong? Well, believe it or not, the answer goes way, way back. All the way back to the playground.
Yeah, researchers have found that generally speaking, boys and girls often grow up in completely different social worlds. They learn totally different rules for how to communicate. It's almost like they were raised in two separate countries, speaking two completely different languages of sorry.
And this slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? In a lot of girls' social groups, which are often built around cooperative play, sorry is like social glue. It's a quick, low-risk way to smooth things over and keep everyone connected. But in many boys' groups, which are often built around competition, saying sorry is a high-risk move. It's a direct admission of fault, a sign of weakness that could put you on a lower rung of the ladder.
So you've got these two very distinct cultures of communication taking shape from a young age. And what happens when those worlds collide in our adult relationships? Well, you get what researchers call a culture crash. It's this fundamental misreading of what the other person is actually trying to say, and maybe more importantly, what they really need to hear.
And this right here, this is the heart of the problem. When she says, "I'm sorry," she's often sending a message about the relationship. I hate this feeling between us, and I want us to be okay. But what he hears is a message about status and blame. She's admitting she made a major mistake, so he thinks she's taking the fall, and he graciously lets her off the hook with, "It's okay," having no idea she was really just hoping for a "sorry" back to show they were on the same page again.
Now, while these gender dynamics are a huge piece of the puzzle, they're definitely not the whole story. The truth is, for almost everyone, no matter who you are, apologizing can be really, really hard. And that's because of some pretty powerful psychological roadblocks we all run into.
So why is it so tough? I mean, it's not just about being stubborn. Admitting we messed up can feel like a direct threat to our ego, to our sense of self. It makes us feel vulnerable, exposed. We worry it makes us look weak or like we don't know what we're doing. And let's be real, if you've ever offered a heartfelt apology, just have it rejected or thrown back in your face, well, you know how much that stings. It makes you think twice about doing it again.
Okay, so if we're all coming from these different places and we're carrying around all this psychological baggage, how do we ever get it right? Well, the good news is there's a kind of shared language we can all learn, a formula for a genuine apology that's all about repair, not about blame.
As the clinical psychologist Harriet Lerner puts it so well, a true apology is not about saying, "I'm sorry, but," you know? It's about taking full, clear ownership. It's about showing that you value the relationship more than you value being right.
So what does a great apology actually look like? Well, there are pretty much 4 key ingredients. First, you have to acknowledge what you did, clearly, with 0 excuses. Second, you express genuine remorse. Show that you get the impact your actions had on the other person. Third, and this is a big one, take responsibility. And finally, offer a plan. Show that you're committed to not letting it happen again. That is how you rebuild trust.
All right, so knowing the theory is one thing. But how do we actually put this into practice, when emotions are running high? It really comes down to meeting in the middle and trying to learn to speak a little bit of the other person's language.
So here's some really practical advice. For her, try not to use sorry as a kind of automatic button to get a sorry in return. If what you're really looking for is that feeling of connection, sometimes it's more powerful to just ask directly, "Are we okay?" And for him,
Try to remember that she's probably not looking for a full legal confession of guilt. She's looking for connection. If saying sorry feels fake, try saying something else that's reassuring, something that shows her you're still on the same team.
And this whole thing really leads us to the one big question we should all be asking ourselves in a conflict. What's the point of this? Are we just trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong, or are we trying to find our way back to each other? The poet Rumi has this beautiful quote that just perfectly captures this. He reminds us that the goal isn't really to win the argument. It's to find that place beyond all the blame and the scorekeeping. That's where the real connection and repair can actually begin. So the next time things get tense, maybe just ask yourself, am I fighting to be right, or am I trying to find that field?